Okay, so in this video, we are going to study a little bit of strings, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. Okay, so this is a quick reference, obviously, because this is for the grade 12, standard 12, or you know, class 12, in whichever way you want to say it. So typically, this is the revision of all the your uh, collective data types, right? So this is we are covering strings, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. This is just a quick reference, and I'm not going into too much depth in that because if you want to go too much depth in that, I would maybe do a full revision course of like grade 11 because uh, the grade 11 concepts do come in handy in when you are doing the projects of grade 12. So if you're doing the projects of grade 12 or grade 11, and whatever projects you are doing, sometimes what the projects require, sometimes they require a lot of other stuff which was not taught in the theory before. So some practical implementation or some understanding is required in that, right? So comparing to those things, we are going to leave the extra stuff after the after the theory classes have been over. And what we are going to do is we are going to go through a quick revision in these videos. So this is 1.4 topic, which is strings, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. And we are going to cover these things. Okay. So we are going to cover very fast, and I'm not going to that much depth. So, okay. So the first thing is the strings. Strings is an immutable data type. When we talk about strings, strings are immutable data type. What do you mean by immutable? Immutable means that it cannot be changed once it is created. So for example, in here, what we are doing is we are creating a string called hello world. Okay, and it is assigned to a variable s, right? So when this happens, this value hello world, which is referenced in s variable, will not be able you will not be able to change it. You may be able to access it, like this is the indexing one. So index 0, you access h in here. So you may be able to access it, but you will not be able to change it. There are certain attributes of the string class itself or the string object itself which will change it. So this is like the upper attribute changes into uppercase of the whole string, except the spaces, of course. So it changes it up. Now the point to remember is that some may argue that when you're using the upper attribute of this string, what happens is that some may say that it is actually changing the string. So how can we say it is immutable? Right? How can we say that this is immutable? Typically, what happens is that it creates a new string based on the old string. So it is actually not referencing the same address in which the values are changed. It is what it is doing, it is converting the existing value and creating a new string with the modified values. So that is why when you do s upper, because the s is referencing the hello world string in here. So what it does is changes the string. Typically, it doesn't change it, it changes the string. It copies the string and then it modifies it during the process of the copy. It changes the string and it creates a duplicate copy with an uppercase in this one. That is why it is called an immutable string. So if you understand it properly in this one, that what we have to understand in this one, that even if we have attribute to change your strings, these attributes do not actually change the existing string, but actually they make a copy with the modified changes. So that we have to understand in that. Okay. Now next is so we have to typically have to understand in this one. All the collective data type operations work in this one more or less. Okay. So if you talk about indexing, indexing works in the same way. So it is S0 is like you will get edge. If it is if you are like slicing it up, so from 0 to 5 you're slicing it up. So it counts from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the space one is not taken because the upper bound is not taken in this one, right? So we have hello, and hello is sliced up, and it prints hello. As upper we have already discussed, and then we have the replace one. So replace will what it will do that it will replace the typical word in the string with another word which you gave in the second argument. So that is what it will do. Okay. So that is typically the some of the attributes of this program. Okay. So now since we are in a system, let's see if we can do we have some old folders with us or not? Because typically I was in hiatus for a long time because I was sick and I got into like I got sick, I got hurt, and that is why it took me time to recover. And I did try to try to post videos or live stream stuff to see how good I am and how better I'm doing. That is why I wasn't posting much videos. So yes, but from now on, I will be posting more videos as soon as I will be better. I'm recovering, so I don't think I will be, getting hurt again. So, anyways, so let's see now. Do we do we have any projects? Local setups projects is here. Okay, so these are big projects. These are not practice projects. So do we have any practice projects in here? I don't think these are the heavy projects. Okay, heavy projects are not in here. I don't think we have much projects in here. I may have deleted it. Who knows? I may have deleted it. Java is here. Oh yes, we have this folder here. Okay, so we did the jump statement last. Strings example is I have already made this one. Okay, the string examples I've already made this one. Maybe I was trying to do it and maybe I lost a video of the recording. So anyways, so when we run this, okay, so when we run this, how we run this? So we run this by what? So we run this by using the Python, uh, your Python command, and whatever the file name is. So the file name is string hyphen example in this one. So we will use string example dot py. Okay. Python cannot no such file or directory. Is that so? Oh, I'm missing an S in this one. I'm missing an S in this one. So strings dot example dot py. So in here we have like the first line says as like the hello world references your uh, sorry, the hello world references s in here. So am I saying that correct? No. What I so the s variable is referencing the hello world, which is stored in the RAM in here. So it has a typical RAM address in this one, which is a hexadecimal address, and s is stored in s stores that address in this one, right? So s stores that address in here. Okay. It is typically I have you know I have difficulty in like talking with the camera, but let's see at least trying to. Then we have len s. So len s will take out the length as 11. So as we see in here, we are having that length as 11 in here. Why it is 11? Because the word is of 5 characters and hello is of 5 characters plus one space we have. That is why there is total of 11. So we have 11 in length. Okay. Next, what we have is indexing. We are just putting in 0 with the access specifier, or we can say the index brackets. Okay, we can say both index brackets as well as access specifier. We can say that both. So with that, we are accessing the 0 index in here. When we are accessing 0 index in here, what happens is that when we talk about this string in like this string, when we talk about this string in here, what happens is that we start from 0 in here and then we count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So the last index number will be 10 in this one. Okay. So the last index number will be 10. So that is why from 0 to 10 we have the total number of index numbers. However, when we can't count the total number of characters in this one, because we are counting zero also, that is why it becomes as 11. Okay. Now, next is that uh, we have the slicing one. So slicing is like I've done slicing in a simpler format, as in like I've taken slice from zero index number to five index number. Five index number is the space in here because we're counting from zero. Okay. And the five is the upper bound is omitted during the printing stuff. So that is why we are only getting hello in here. And this is a simple, methods in this one, or sometimes we also say this as attributes. Okay. In official Python documentation, we say it as attributes. Okay. In official in official Python documentation, we say it as attributes, right? So we can say methods, or we can say attributes. You can say both those things. We can also say that it is an inbuilt function. So it is also an inbuilt function. Okay, it is also an inbuilt function. However, in inbuilt function, it is an attribute or methods. And when you talk about methods, methods are typically methods are usually they are functions itself. Any functions are known as methods. Okay. Okay. Any methods, they are usually they are functions, and functions. When we talk about functions, functions usually contains variables and parameters. Okay. Function usually contains variables. Okay. So without variables, it will be difficult to work with. Okay. So and methods. Now, one more thing we have to understand in this one is that when we go in this one, okay, when we go in this one, there is one dot in here. Okay. So because S is your string, typically S is your string. So string is, as I've explained it before, that I've explained this before that all things, like all tokens, all tokens in Python is ultimately an object. Okay. So typically in other languages, what we have is that only only your only the class which is initiated is your you know is your object, right? So only the class which is initiated is your object. So that is what we have to understand in this one, is that in Python everything is an object. So because this is a string and it is a data type, okay, it is a data type, and data type itself is a token. Okay. So data type, when we talk about data type, uh, ultimately it is a token. So it falls under the category of token. So this token will be a class in itself. So it is a class, and that class is initialized as a hello world, and now it is a class object. So whenever there is an object, we can access its methods. So any object or any class will have its methods or functions inside it. So we can access it with the dot operator. So this one is your dot operator in this one, and this is the upper class, which is inside this string class. Okay, which is inside this string class, right? Okay, so hopefully that is enough understanding. Let's see. Let me just record this in the history. For description of okay. Right. Do I have a remote repository? That is the question. Let me see. Git branch, git remote. No, I don't have any external repositories to this one. Okay. Anyways, so we have this one. Right. So this is one of the examples of string. One thing I have to tell you is that this book, since it says that it has a copyright, and typically the copyright is mine ultimately, right? So this is me only, and this is my professional website. It's not related to YouTube, but I use my own books to make videos. That is why uh, this is like this one is like it's not viable for me because this is the same person as like, I hold the copyright in this one. One more thing I have to like tell you that you could those who want to you know have a printout of this book. So suppose if you want to have a printout of this book, so like let's say this you want to print out of this book. So you can have this printout, but the point is, as per the copyright, you cannot distribute this printout to anybody else. Okay. You can have the PDF copy, you can have the printout for yourself, uh, but you cannot distribute it or you cannot, give these printouts to anybody else and look like to Xerox it or photocopy it, right? So that is the copyright in this one, right? So that is what you have to understand that you cannot, you could print out yourself for your use, but you cannot distribute it. Okay, you cannot distribute it. So that is one thing I have to clarify that this is me only, and this just that this is my official website. So just for clarification, just because that I do not step over on my input. So this is me only. This is my work only. So I have a lot of expertise. So yeah, one thing I had to clarify. Okay. So anyways, not like that much anonymity is there ultimately, right? And thank you for being in this video. And hopefully you may have learned something from this one.